A Delicate Unravelling is the first chapter of my book, Authentically You. And this is all about discovering and embodying your authentic self. This is the first companion video for this book that you can get absolutely free, and I'll pop the link for you below so you can get the ebook and start delving in if this is something that really resonates. And so in this video, I've got a series of videos that are going to come through that are going to support you to really take what is outlined inside of this book much deeper. So this video, I want to delve into the delicate unraveling. And what I mean by this is really going on that journey of peeling one layer back at a time and really allowing yourself to move at your pace. Some parts of this journey are going to feel really slow, and sometimes that can feel quite uncomfortable. We are so desiring to get away from the discomfort, the pain in our lives, and to get to some sort of pleasure or ideal destination or perfect version of self. And really this is all just an illusion. The thing is that we're going to experience discomfort. We're going to experience pain along the journey. But what we want to do is expand our capacity to be with the sensations and the emotions that are inevitable on this path. And then also start to move toward more pleasure and more joy and more ease within ourselves. But we also need to expand our capacity and also create make this almost like more familiar. Like this needs to become more familiar to our system to feel pleasure, to be in our joy, to be in ease. Because if all we know is the discomfort, the pain, the anxiety, the depression, the disconnection, there's going to be part of you that's going to feel safer being in that because it's what it knows. And that's what these parts of ourselves are actually designed to do, is to keep us in what we know, what is familiar, and then that's providing like this kind of false sense of safety, like I'm safe because I know this. So there's actually a recalibration that needs to take place for us to move into more of what we desire to experience. And this goes the same with when we're talking about the authentic self. So if all we know is the disconnection and the numbness and isolation, that's where we're going to find is our kind of comfort zone. And so to move more into our authentic self and to really live an aligned life, to really live in passion and joy and aliveness, we've actually got to do some really deep work here. And I'm going to speak more to the work piece, that embodiment work, and what's actually going to shift this for you in another video. I also go into it inside the ebook. But today's video, I really want to speak more into the delicate unraveling. And what I mean by this is really being gentle with yourself. You have been through so much in your lifetime. We do not want to rush this process, even though there might be part of you that's like, I want to get there as fast as possible. I want to get away from this pain. I want to be embodied. I want to be my authentic self. I want to have all these things that I think I'm going to get by being my authentic self. And so we kind of want to rush it because we want to get there as fast as possible. But that actually might make it a slower process because we're going to skip ahead. We're going to skip steps, essential steps, and then find ourselves in this experience of, why am I back at square one? And why is this not working? And why am I still feeling this way? So it's almost like that saying, like slow and steady wins the race. So it's like really slow down and take your time and be really nurturing to yourself, gentle with yourself through this process, because it can be confronting, it can be intense. As we start the unraveling process, things are going to surface and come up to be felt, to be expressed, to be integrated. That is part of the process. And if we're trying to rush ourselves through that, it's so overwhelming for the nervous system that we will find ourselves tapping out, disconnecting, numbing out, and going into patterns and habits to protect ourselves from that intensity and that discomfort. The other piece to this, and so I speak more into my own personal story with the delicate unraveling, and I actually go right to the beginning of my journey when I was about 17. And this was when my spiritual journey really began. And I realized that I really didn't know who I was. The version that I was of myself, I really didn't like. I struggled a lot with self-hatred, with beating myself up and self-shaming and feeling like I really wasn't worth much. I wasn't good enough. Was a really strong one. And when I turned 18, it just got to a point where I was so lost. I was so disconnected. I felt so depressed and overwhelmed by life. And I ended a relationship that year. And it was the beginning of like, who am I? That self-discovery journey. Like, who am I? What is my purpose? Why am I here? And this is when I began to peel back the layers, and slowly I started to meet more parts of me. And I was like, like this, I'm starting to understand who I am. I'm starting to understand why I'm having these experiences and these challenges. But it actually wasn't until probably about 5.5 years after that I started doing the embodiment work, which again I'm going to speak more into in a future video. But it was this embodiment work piece that really called me home. So for that first kind of 5 years of my journey, I was learning so much, I was absorbing so much, there was so much shifting for me, and this was a lot of foundational work. It was all essential, but I kept getting this feeling of like, I still don't know who I am, I still don't know what I'm meant to do, I'm still falling back into old habits, things aren't really shifting in the way that I want. And I was like, well, what am I missing here? And that's when I discovered embodiment work, and I found that missing piece for me. And it really helped me to bring what I had been learning from the mental space into my physical body and really embody this work. And that's when things started to really, really shift. And it was on this breathwork training retreat where I got the first real glimpse of who I truly am, my authenticity. And then that began the next part of unraveling. And the journey continues, and that's really what I wanted to speak to here, is that I don't believe that discovering your authentic self is a destination that once you get there, you're done. I feel like it's a continuous journey. And I feel like we're always evolving. And so what's authentic to you now may not be authentic to you tomorrow or next year or the following year. What's authentic to you now may not have been authentic to you from like a year ago or 5 years ago. So even though I speak about at that training getting like the first real glimpse of my authentic self, what I realized was actually along the whole journey, even prior to my spiritual journey, I had glimpses of aspects of myself that were authentic. Inside the Authentically You book that I wrote, I actually speak to a piece in my relationship with my first love. And there was this part around me being able to be my weird, quirky self. And this is such a true essence of me, like a true part of me that is still true today and has always been true. This is something that's actually never changed. What has happened is along the journey at different times, it's got shut down and it's been suppressed, and it hasn't felt safe to fully embody that quirky, fun, playful self. And that's what's been really interesting, is that this part has come forward in different parts of my life and then disappeared or disconnected in different parts. And it's been like this wave. And this journey has been meeting these different aspects along the entire experience, over the entire 12 plus years of my really like 12 plus years of my healing journey, but really the entire human experience. Because even as I reflect of the years prior to beginning this journey, I'm learning and I'm receiving gems from that reflection. So it's realizing that you're actually on that journey already. You've been on that journey a long time of moving through life, having different experiences, meeting different aspects of yourself, noticing how I'm different in particular relationships, and actually that's okay. It's actually me being authentic to that relationship or to that situation or that experience. So your authentic self isn't one fixed version of you. It's actually multifaceted, and there's different aspects and layers and versions and pieces and gems. And that's what's really amazing. It's like we're not actually putting ourselves in a box anymore, which I feel like so many of us have experienced, as being put into this box of this is how I should be. This is what the perfect person is like. This is what I'm expected to be. This is what I should do. And we're constantly put in this box through conditioning, through trauma, through perceptions, through society, through culture, through all these different things, through social media. What's going to get me the love, acceptance, and belonging that I crave? What's going to get my core needs met? And then we start to contort ourselves in order to get those needs met. And that's where that disconnection from your authentic self is happening. I'm actually going to go more deeper into what even is your authentic self and what happened to your authentic self. I'm going to go into that in the next video. So if you're already resonating with what we're exploring in this video, I'm going to invite you to go and get the book. It's free. And then you can also tune into the other companion videos. There's going to be 4 in total at this stage. Who knows, there could be more depending on what comes through, and what feels like it's going to serve you guys best. But yeah, stay tuned for those, and I'm going to pop all the links that you need below so it's easier to find everything. But yeah, so coming back to this multifaceted self, this expansive self, I feel like that's what our authentic self is. That's what our true essence is. It's the expansiveness. It's all the different angles and elements and aspects of you, and knowing that it's actually okay to be all of these versions, and it's okay to be different when you're with one friend to how you are with another friend, or different in your intimate partnership to how you are in other relationships. You might bring more of your quirky self into particular relationships. You might bring more of your sexy self into particular relationships. You might bring more of your confident self, and that's okay. And you may also notice that your confidence builds as you start to embody more of your authenticity in these different realms, in these different areas of life. The confidence within yourself builds, and you start to feel more confident in being the different versions of you, knowing that it doesn't mean that you're being fake just because you're being different in different situations. Different situations are going to call for different aspects of you. And this was really liberating for me, to really allow myself to be in the fullness of who I am, rather than being in this box of who I should be and thinking I've got to be consistent across the board for it to be authentic. It's like, what is authentic to you? What is authenticity to you? Rather than what someone else is saying it is. So it's always like taking this information and this wisdom or these transmissions in and really feeling into what resonates, and keep that. Try it on. If it feels right, keep it. And if it doesn't, feel free to ditch it and move on, and discover what authentic means to you, what authenticity means to you. And also being open to knowing that your authentic self will change and evolve as you do over this life experience. As you learn things, as you heal things, as you release things, you're going to find that you feel different. Like, I don't know about you, but for me, sometimes I will feel like a completely new version of me next month or each year. I feel like, wow, like there's a new version of me that's been birthed. And so we are constantly in this experience of death and rebirth, shedding the layers and rebirthing, rediscovering, learning, and this is what's constantly shaping and reshaping us. So it's not about discovering this fixed version of authentic self, of like, now I've found it and this is just what it is, this is who I am. There may be elements of that, like I said, this quirky aspect of me, this weird aspect of me that's really playful and even a bit dorky, is like, that's always been there, but it might show up differently throughout the journey. The more confident I feel being myself, the more expressive it could be. But it could show up a little differently depending on what relationship I'm in and who I'm interacting with. And that's okay. It can move, and it can be almost like this dance and this malleable part of you. It doesn't have to be fixed of like, this is my kind of quirky and that's just how it is. But it also could be. You might notice that there are aspects that feel pretty fixed. And like, this is just how it is. This is how I communicate. This is how I express. This is how I dress. Like, whatever it might be. And this is really a permission slip. Like an invitation to give yourself the permission slip, because that's really the only person that can give you that permission. But this is a permission slip to be like, you know what, this is me, and I'm also continuously discovering who I am, and it's okay to have different aspects of self. It's okay to show up differently in different situations and relationships. It's okay to shift and transform and change. And it's really just okay to be you, your unique, authentic self. It's so okay and so welcome and so needed. So often what I've experienced and what I've witnessed from working with so many people over the years now is that we're constantly trying to contort ourselves and change ourselves to fit into the box, to fit into society, to fit into community, to be loved, accepted, and belong. And we're abandoning ourselves to be this version that we think will be more lovable or acceptable. Or we're trying to be like someone else that we think is maybe more lovable or acceptable or better than. And it's like we're like getting stuck in this comparison, and we're trying to be something that we're not. And what I want to leave you here with is that we don't need a duplicate of someone else. We don't need another someone else. We need you. You and your uniqueness, your authenticity, your beauty, your magnificence. And that's what really impacts the world, the collective, all of humanity, is when more of us start to really discover and embody our authentic selves and walk that path for ourselves. We become the walking permission slip for others to do the same. And then it's like just this huge permission slip for all of us to be ourselves and to be more accepting of ourselves and others. Because when we're more accepting of ourselves, we find that we're more accepting of others as well. And this is where this harmony starts to come through. We experience more ease and peace in the world, and acceptance, and like this relief, like it's finally okay to be me. The amount of chaos and destruction and conflict that's created because of the unsafety to be ourselves, the unsafety to express ourselves. What if we started to do that work for ourselves to really embody our authenticity, to feel confident in our expression, to feel confident to be like, this is me, and to start to really align to the lives that we desire, the lives that feel authentic and true for us. So that means what we do for work, that means the friendships and the relationships and the family dynamics and the way that we show up in the world. It all starts to become in alignment with your authenticity, and you start to live what's true for you and correct for you. And then you're going to experience more harmony and ease and thriving in your relationships. And this is going to create this ripple effect where more of us start to experience that peace. That frequency that you're embodying impacts us all. So I'm going to leave you with that, a little bit longer in this video than I had anticipated, but there was just a few pieces that really wanted to come through. So my invitation for you from here is to go and get the Authentically You ebook if you have not already. Like I said, it's free to download. And then there's going to be more videos that really work in with this ebook to take it deeper. So I wanted to really create a really deep experience that's going to really guide you on that journey to coming home to yourself and to really start stepping into the embodiment of your true self and allowing your fullest expression to come through. So that's why I felt like the ebook is amazing, but having these companion videos, and there's also some additional resources that you'll get access to, is actually going to be where you start to experience these deep shifts for yourself, because it is going to take more than just reading a book. And so I wanted to help you go deeper with it. I'd love to hear what you thought, what you're feeling, what's resonating for you from this video, and how you go with the ebook. So definitely leave a comment below or reach out. It's always really amazing to hear from you guys. Thank you so much for being here.